Many people have become bored with the Assassin's Creed series. I know it's understandable to say that they're all the same now, that they just seem like a mold and a repeat of everything else. Since Black Flag, there hasn't really been one that's really caught my attention, but Origins was pushing that boundary, and then all of a sudden we got the gameplay for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Now, as someone that has studied ancient Sparta for 2 years of my A-level life, I was instantly captivated by this, so I decided to do a bit more research in it. Now, from when I'm recording this, it actually releases tomorrow, so when you're watching this, you've probably already bought it, or you might be thinking of buying it. But this is why I think Assassin's Creed Odyssey is going to be better than you might think. So let's get straight into the video. First off, unlike other Assassin's Creed games, you now get a choice right from the get-go. You get this choice of character to play as. You have two options. You can play as Alexios or Cassandra. Now this is quite different, and it's hinting at the RPG style that they're trying to go with Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And it has a lot of effects later on down the game, not only with the story, but also the gameplay and mechanics that you have to play with as well. It is set in Greece during the Peloponnesian War, which is going to have some interesting effects and some new additions into the game that we haven't really seen too much of before, which we'll get onto a little bit later. Now, as I said, Origins was something a little bit different. They decided, and there were the hints that they were going to go in the right direction. It'd been a while since Ubisoft had actually really pushed the series further than they were sort of doing the safe mold that they'd always had that made them money, but they weren't really interesting players to carry on, and they knew that they had to do something different, and Origins was the hint of this. They hinted at more RPG natures with things included in their game. But Odyssey only pushes this further with many dialogue options and actions that will affect the rest of your game in the long run. And yes, there's also the option to have sex with multiple side characters, because apparently that's a staple of a real RPG. Not that I'm complaining. Odyssey goes back into not only naval combat but also naval exploration, meaning you're able to recruit crew members, also upgrade your ship, which is something that is great. I know the earlier Assassin's Creed games, you just upgraded a town with your money, didn't really have anything to do, and then Black Flag introduced this whole ship upgrading thing, and since then they've kind of got the right idea of what you're going to do with your in-game money, but this is being brought back with full force for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And yeah, there does seem to be a lot of mechanics that they are bringing back from Black Flag, which is arguably, for me at least, one of the best or the better Assassin's Creed games in the last few years, or the series as a whole. But not only is being set in ancient Greece a new theatre to explore with new terrain and things that you can look at, but the period is important as well, being set during the Peloponnesian Wars. This means that the two biggest superpowers of Greece at the time, Sparta and Athens, are going at it in full force in this war. And you can decide who you want to help, who you want to make and push forward through this, or you can even change sides later on. You're able to help change the control of many of the in-game regions from Spartan or Athenian control whenever you want by helping whichever side in these new large-scale battles, and this is one of the first massive things that they are changing. There's going to be these large-scale battles that you're able to take into account, you're able to fight in them. Now, are they going to be historically accurate, fighting in phalanx formations and using the feign retreat things and everything that you might expect? Probably not. I'm suspecting it's going to be the typical Hollywood type Greek battle type thing. I mean, this is set with someone that has Leonidas' spear, who's supposedly Leonidas' daughter, which he never had, and you had to fight Medusa in one of the missions. This is not a historically accurate game, but just the period it's setting is awesome nonetheless. I genuinely can't wait for this new large-scale battle type mechanic that they're going to have in with these missions. It's going to be so epic, seeing waves of men fighting each other and being able to help and be a part of the sway in the war. Some of the things, though, don't come straight away. For example, wanting to take out a leader of a powerful region may be on the cards, but going straight for gold instantly can backfire. If they're powerful and ready, you might want to do a bit of preparation before you just go in straight for the attack and assassination. If you kill a leader when, you haven't done anything to that region before, he's just going to be replaced, or you might not even get to him if his guards are strong and loyal behind him, or if his people are loyal behind him. There's not going to be too much you can do. So weakening a regional leader's control on their own region will make it so much easier for you to assassinate them. So there's a whole extra arc to it where you're going to actually have to plan ahead and be able to do things that way. Though you can then take control of that region, as the people will already be doubting their leadership, so it's just going to be a lot easier to take over these certain regions throughout Assassin's Creed. Now, there will be the option for the typical arcade style systems in place for people that like to play it casual, such as, markers and everything, directions and what you need to do, sort of spoon feeding you along the way through your gameplay in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. But the game has another option, and it has an option called Superior Exploration Mode. This means that the map markers and so on are removed. Therefore, you're going to have to rely on listening to NPCs as they actually talk to you, and you have your various dialogue options, and also using them in conjunction with map clues and terrain in order to actually find quests or objectives, such as if they say go to a forest or go to a river by a valley. You're going to have to go to these certain places and remember them, because you're not going to have that help if you choose to use the Superior Exploration Mode. Now, in Assassin's Creed Origins, they did try and push the game forward, but they actually completely changed the way the stealth system worked, which a lot of people didn't really like too much. It was just a lot harder to actually get stealthy. Guards would notice you easier, and actually getting assassinations, sometimes they wouldn't just be one-hit kills when you assassinated them, which means actually going in for stealth missions wasn't very possible, which for an Assassin's Creed game isn't really what people like. People like the stealth option in these games, but never fear, Odyssey is making a change to that. Things such as chain assassinations make a return from the earlier games, from the games where you played as Altair or Ezio, and there's also more complex combinations in order to deal more damage in your assassinations, giving you more options for stealth and progressing as the typical sneaky assassin that we all know and love. Furthermore, now the repeated button pressing and exact same attacks being displayed is gone. You know, when you just spam a button and you'd be able to counter everything and just fucking attack them all. Now, that's still there in some way, making it a bit easier, but there's a lot more variety to everything. There's a massive choice of different moves and attacks that can be picked and chosen to be played by your character. You combine these certain attacks to the character depending on your playstyle. Now, of course, you're not going to be able to use them all at once, but you can pick and choose which attacks you want to learn, and they're going to be the ones that you're going to be able to use. But of course, if you change your mind, there's always the option for that customization, which is a big factor. Since they're going for this new RPG style, customization is a massive thing. This is also moving on to the UI, able to customize the UI how you want it. Maybe you don't want certain parts of your UI on there, maybe you want it to be completely clear and have the full realistic way of playing Assassin's Creed. That is an option as well. Now, the new RPG style of gameplay also translates into the questing system, with so many more quests to do and ways to approach them. Also, alongside of this, some more smaller quests that aren't technically side quests, but these can be done or avoided depending on how you want your game to turn out. These are more NPC related and improving your relations with people. For example, if you want to improve your relations with a certain person, you can then do a quest for them, but that might make someone else a bit annoyed at you, and that can change the whole dynamic and how you play the game later on. Side quests actually have an effect on the main game themselves. It's not just you do a side quest, you might get a few coins, a few extra bonus items. They will have an effect on the overall map depending on which ones you decide to do. Additionally, Assassin's Creed has taken it up a notch. It is no longer the simplified, completely easy game. Now, not only do the combat system and of course this superior exploration mode, they contribute to this, but also in terms of questing as well. The quests won't just be the same level all the way through. You can't just grind and level up your character and then go and do the quests and you absolutely storm through them because you've spent a long time just grinding in the open world. Now, when you level up in the open world, the quests level up with you. So as you progress your character, if you get better, unlock new things, unlock new moves, so do the quests. They will get harder alongside you, meaning that it will never be a walk in the park. It's never just going to be this game that you can just waltz in and completely smash it, which I think is great. I think Assassin's Creed has always suffered from the too easy syndrome. It's not quite as bad as some syndromes out there, but the too easy syndrome is something that has infected many games. It's coming into the Far Cry games, but it's been in the Assassin's Creed games for a long time. You know, the spamming the button presses, the whole eagle vision where you're able to literally just see anything. Hiding in haystacks, and guards will be so stupid they don't even know where you are. I mean, the haystack bit's fine, that's quite fun, just like stabbing a guard in the back of the head and pulling him in and then doing whatever you might want to do in that haystack with the guard. But they are making a change to this. Now everything is a bit harder, making the gameplay harder, but also making it customizable to your style, keeping you engrossed and keeping you immersed within the world. Now I would say there's a lot of changes that we've seen in the Assassin's Creed games before. This is something quite different. This is not your typical Assassin's Creed experience. Yes, it's going to a new era. We all know that that's their thing. They like to travel to different eras and keep it interesting, but they're also doing it in a different way as well, making sure that everyone is going to stay immersed in this game and maybe have a different experience. People that have got bored of the series a while ago, which I know I definitely did, might come back into it and have a play with it, and maybe even enjoy. I'm very happy with what Ubisoft are doing. But if none of this is enough to convince you that Assassin's Creed Odyssey will take a break from the same mold of Assassin's Creed games, I'm sure this picture of a player hanging off a statue's penis might sway the tide for you.